Does this sound familiar? You published a book and you're not getting any sales, or you're not getting the amount of sales that you know you should be getting. Today, I want to share with you 7 reasons why your book might not be selling or selling as well as you want it to, and what you can do to fix it. And the last tip may not be what you think, so stick around till the end to find out. Before I start, these tips are relevant to both new publishers or those of you who may have been publishing for years. And this works for new books that you may have just published recently or books that have been published years ago. So let's get right into it. Reason number 1, some people publish and leave it. Now, it's really important that you let people know about your book, because there is no way that anyone is going to find your book if you don't let people know about it. Publishing it and then hoping and praying that someone is going to find your book is just not going to work. With the amount of books that are published on Amazon every single day, every single month, every single year, there's just an ocean of books out there. So what you need to do is get the word out. Market your book. And when I say market, I don't mean you have to run ads. You don't need a high budget. You can do this very cheap or practically for free. You just need to share your book with people, at least people that you know, people that are around you. You can share your book as it's being made. You don't even have to wait for it to be done or as you're writing it. And then after it's published, you got to keep sharing your book. And there's so many free ways to do this. One way is you can promote your book, especially if you have several books, in your other books. So in the new book that you create, you can promote your older books in it by letting people know that you have that book inside the book. You can put a QR code so people can scan it and then get taken to the other book's Amazon listing. So you can use links inside your book. You can use QR codes. Now, another thing that you can also do is you can also mention your book in your email signature. Just put it with your email signature. And you can actually put the link to your Amazon listing in the signature. That way, every email that you send is also promoting your book. Another thing you can do is share parts of your book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. You can share parts that are inside the book that might intrigue others or might make people curious. You can share the cover. So that part you can share even before your book is done. You can get people excited about your book just by sharing the cover and maybe telling them what it's about. So get the word out. There are so many ways to do this that doesn't require any money and actually doesn't even require that much time or effort on your part. It might just be something that you would do since you're going to do it anyways. So always remember, you got to let people know. You got to get the word out there, because your book is not going to magically appear on people's searches when they're searching for that topic. Reason 2, there's a hungry audience out there and you're not marketing, or you're not targeting that hungry audience. Why people may not find your book is because you are not in a niche where there is a high enough demand. Maybe you've heard this before, but it is so important to make sure that there is a large audience or a high volume of people who are searching for the type of book that you have. If there isn't a significant amount, then there's no one is going to see your book. Make sure that you research well, very well, before you even start writing your book, before you even think about your book, before you get into that niche. If there isn't a large or a high volume of people who are searching for the book that you have or looking for that type of book that you have, if there isn't a high enough number of people in your audience, then you may have to reconsider the niche that you are already in. You may have to switch that niche that you're in to something else that does have a large audience. Now, reason number 3 is that, and this might seem kind of opposite, but reason number 3 is your audience is too broad. Maybe you have found a niche that does have a large audience, so it does have a high search volume, but you want to create a book that serves everyone in that niche, if it's a broad niche. But that is actually a recipe for disaster, because not only is it difficult to compete with the top sellers, but people have a tendency to gravitate toward buying something that is more tailored to them, more specific to them. For example, if a woman is looking for a book that talks about hormones or say hormone replacement therapy, would she be more interested in a book that talks about all hormones in general, or would she be more likely to buy a book that is targeted towards, for example, say women over 40 who are dealing with hormonal imbalance? So if she had both books in front of her to choose from, I would guess that the more specific one would be the better buy. That would be the one that she would buy. This is easy. You just need to make sure that you're not going broad. You cannot serve everybody. It is so much better if you can target like a sub niche, target a certain group of people, not too narrow, but narrow enough that it's not broad and there's a large population. For example, the women who are over 40 and might have hormonal imbalance. That is pretty much like 90% of the women of the whole population. So that does have a large audience, but it's not that broad as a targeted niche. Reason number 4, your book may be in a ghost category or in a duplicate category. And maybe you've never thought about this, but a ghost category is one that doesn't exist, or it may have existed before and then Amazon removed it because Amazon does that. So if you choose one of the categories in your backend, because you know how you have 3 categories to choose from, and you choose one that is a ghost category, you won't know that it's a ghost category. Then it actually won't show up in any category because it doesn't exist. So you just wasted a category. And that category that is wasted, you could have used to put it in a category so that your buyers, your customers, your readers can actually find you. Another way that you may be wasting a category is by using a duplicate category. Again, when you're selecting it in your backend, when you have your book in 2 categories, but they actually end up going back to the same category. So you think it's 2 different categories, but they're actually the same category. That is again another waste. That's why I use personally Publisher Rocket. I think it's great. I get to choose to look for categories that are not ghost categories or are not duplicate categories. I will probably talk about that in another video, but just keep that in mind. You want to be able to select categories that are neither ghost categories or duplicate categories. Reason number 5 is your book title. I know you probably heard it before. I know I talked about it before. Your book title is important, and you know that. But there are 2 reasons why your book title actually may be holding you back from sales. Now, let's look at the first reason. Number 1, it is not showing that it is relevant to the right people. Now, what do I mean by that? I know it's good and it's important to have a title that stands out. You want it to stand out. You want it to be somewhat unique so it's not lost in the sea of other books that are with similar titles, but it might be too fancy and too unique. And that won't help Amazon know who to show your book to. It won't understand what your book is about. And people may not know what this book is about, or they might not know that this book is for them. Being too extravagant and trying to stand out in that way might backfire if you're not giving enough information to Amazon to let them know what your book is about. You aren't using the keywords that are relevant, and you're not using them properly in your title. That is one reason. The other reason is on the other end of the spectrum. I see authors that are keyword stuffing their title with all the keywords possible and almost writing a full description in the title. And that can also turn people off. And also it turns Amazon off. Amazon does frown on that. It does not like when people use a description in their title, just like they don't like that when people, and I know this for people who sell products, it should not be a whole list of words that are, it's basically a description. Amazon really does not like that. But I do see a lot of people do that, and that could turn your potential customers off. So there is a sweet spot. You have to have your most relevant keywords, your absolute most relevant keywords in your title, still be original with it, but the keywords have to be in your title. And maybe you can use the less important keywords in your subtitle, but it should still be clear about what the book is about and who it's for and what makes it different, what makes it stand out. Reason number 6 is your book listing or your book listing page. And this is where you or your reader has clicked on your book cover. If they're searching and it showed up on, say, the first page, they're going to click on your cover, they're going to go into the listing. And now they're going to go through the page from top to bottom. So think about how you actually shop for books or how you shop for anything on Amazon. That's what we do. We go from the top to the bottom. So first they're going to see the side to see if there's images to click on, added images, or they're going to look at the look inside button, click on that. Then they may look at the description. They may take a glance at the price, but they probably saw the price before they clicked, but they still might look at it again. And then they're going to scroll down to read the reviews, and they may come across your A+ content. Now, back to the description. Description is very important. If you have a poorly written description, or if it's big, boring block of text, then you've lost their attention. Your description has to be well written. It has to be well formatted. It has to look nice. You have to have bold titles. You have to have bullet points, all of that. It cannot be a block. And it has to be well written, that so it will either get them to keep reading because it's so interesting, or ideally they can click the buy button. They probably won't click the buy button most of the time just by reading the description, but that would be ideal. They're going to start scrolling down, probably to get to the reviews, maybe to see what people are saying. If you don't have A+ content, then you have to have A+ content. Like, it just, you're missing out on so much. If you don't have good A+ content, then you may be losing a chance to showcase the wonderful things that your book offers. It's not good enough just to have A+ content. You should really put some thought, some time and effort into the A+ content. You can look at your competitors, see what they've done, what points have they used, what words are they using, not copy them, but it does give some inspiration. Yours is probably going to be different, might have a different color scheme, might have different design, but you can get some inspiration from those that are selling well. And these are things that you can tweak one thing at a time, unless they're all bad. But if they're relatively good and you don't know why your sales are not as good as you want, just tweak one thing at a time. I would say tweak your description because that's the easiest thing you could fix. And then see, are your sales improving? Then you could tweak your A+ content. Change the design, just add to it. There's so much you could do with A+ content, and then leave it and see if sales are improving. So you can make these improvements one by one, gradually pay attention to your sales, and most importantly, pay attention to how your book listing looks overall. That's very, very important. And a lot of people do neglect that. Reason number 7, and this might be something you may have overlooked or may not have thought of, is happy customers. Do you have happy customers? And what do I mean by happy customers? Well, how do you know if you have happy customers or happy readers? Usually it's by the reviews. And this is also how Amazon knows how good your book is. It's really important for Amazon to understand. They find out by the reviews, by the star ratings, if your book is good or if your product is good. And this is very, very important for Amazon because Amazon is always looking for a good customer experience. So I know we always talk about getting as much reviews as possible and having a high number, and having a high number is actually important. And it is important to get as many reviews as possible. And it is important to get them in the beginning. The more, the better. Yes. So you got to keep working on that. So keep working on that. You do need to periodically be checking your book reviews, especially those that are organic. Having fewer reviews might actually be better. If you have less reviews or fewer reviews that are 5-star, it's actually better than having a lot of reviews with, say, an average of 2 stars. Because over time, Amazon is going to use that info in ranking your book, and who they're going to show it to. It will determine who's going to see it and where they're going to show it, where they're going to rank it. Amazon, again, wants a good customer experience. So be sure that your book is getting good reviews, not just reviews. If you are seeing some low-star reviews, find out what the reason is, and then maybe it's something you can actually fix. Then fix it. You can do this. You can upload your book, your document again, and this will improve your book quality. You can republish your book again. You can update any part of it and solve the problems and concerns that your reviewers had issues with. This will lead to better reviews because people are going to start leaving better reviews after that. So it's very important to do that. Always important to just be reading your reviews periodically to see what people are saying. And a lot of people don't do that. So that's it. Those are 7 reasons why your book may not be selling or doing well or doing as well as you want it to. If you have a good book and you know that it's good and you know people are going to like it, don't give up on your book. Just don't give up. It deserves to be seen, and there are ways that you can possibly get eyes on it and actually people buying your book. So if you have any concerns, if you have any questions or obstacles, please let me know in the comments. I will answer it, or I might just record a video about it. So I hope this helps, and I hope this improves your book publishing and your book publishing process, and I will see you in the next video.